Okay, interview one with guest. Just so you know, all the questions here will be confidential, as is your information. If you don't wish to answer a question, just say pass for any reason. Let's go. How would you explain or describe the teenage community in the modern day?
A bit of a mess at the moment, really. Looked down upon. Kind of looks like they've got no hope.
Oh.
Yeah.
Care to elaborate on it anymore?
A lot of pressure on them to do well. It's hard to do well.
In today's modern society, would you say teenagers are they're put into like a group, the stereotypes like chav, emos, jocks, hipsters, other things like that. Do you think that this process puts pressure on teens to become part of a certain group, to fit in, or to attempt to avoid becoming part of a certain group?
I definitely think people do things to stop becoming part of the group. Like myself, I don't class myself as a chav, but I love just around the house. I just wear trackies and a jumper. But if I walked around outside like that, people would assume I was a chav. So whenever I leave the house, I make sure I put a pair of jeans on, so I don't look like a chav, because chavs don't exactly have the best reputation.
Yeah.
And then some people do feel pressure to dress and be like other people to fit in with them.
So there is pressure on teens to avoid.
Definitely pressure.
Yeah. With all the different pressures put on teens these days, education, things like following the family's reputation, maybe a job, the transition from teenage life to adult life. Would you say that this could lead to mental health issues, or?
Oh yeah,
definitely.
With all the stress, it definitely leads to mental health issues.
What would you say is the leading cause for mental health issues among teens?
Leading cause, stress, leads to depression, probably. I think depression is probably the biggest one in teenagers.
Yes. Do you know anyone that has been through depression or had a mental health problem?
I know one person that was diagnosed as depressed. I know one person that thinks he's depressed. But then again, he thinks he's depressed because he's trying to fit in with people. So.
As a young person yourself, did you know that mental health issues affect 1 in 4 people?
No, I didn't.
Did you know that mental health is more common in women than men?
No, I didn't.
Did you also know that British men are more likely to commit suicide due to mental health problems?
No, I didn't.
Would you say there's enough information for young people out there about mental health, considering not many people know the statistics and all?
No, I wouldn't say there's enough information.
Do you think there's help for people with mental health, like enough hotlines or call centres, things like that, people to talk to about getting treatment?
Personally, I don't really know, because I don't have any mental health issues, so I've never really needed to use any of them. But as my mate who has got depression, or did have depression, he got over it fairly quickly, and he had all the help he needed. So I think there is, just it's not known.
It needs to be made more aware of.
More aware.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, if you yourself was to make a video to campaign for people with mental health issues, what would you say the biggest emphasis of a certain topic would be? So, like awareness, what these people go through, how they could avoid it, maybe.
Probably awareness, just show that this is what they're going through. So just be a bit like, just don't be on their back all the time about it, and show how much help there is out there.
Okay.
So don't be afraid if you think you've got mental health. If you think you are depressed, go and see a doctor about it, and there's enough support out there to help you.
Okay. That's all we need then. Thank you for joining us. Interview 2 with second guest. Just so you know that all questions here will be confidential and information should be kept as such, so no names need to be used. If you wish to not answer a question at any time for any reason, just say pass and keep moving.
Okay.
So the first question, how would you explain or describe the teenage community in the modern day?
What do you mean by the teenage community?
So, the populace of the modern teenagers, I'd say, as an age range from 13 to 18 or 21. How would you describe or explain their situation in the world?
Well, every teenage person is different. Some like we have like social categories, if you know what I mean. Like there's like goth,
Yeah.
buds,
We'll be moving on to that after as well.
yeah, okay, yeah, but like
Yeah.
that. But like everyone's different in their own right. So teenage, whatever you said, it's kind of a mixture. You know, there's some good and some bad, but overall it's all good.
Well, what would you say is like the struggles of teenagers today as well?
Teenage,
In everyday life.
no money, no money, no money. basically no money, basically, because yeah, that's what drives people.
Yeah.
Money. Yeah, so yeah.
Okay then. So in today's teenage society, like you said, there are groups that are categorised as chavs, emos, hipsters, things like that. Do you think that these groups put pressure on teenagers to become part of a certain group, or to try and avoid becoming a part of a certain group in order to fit in?
Both. Because think about it, like if you go with people who are like more hipsters, you're gonna stay away from the chavs.
Yeah.
But if you grow up on the state with people you know are chavs, you stay away from the hipsters and emo because you're sitting there weird. So it's like it's not like you're avoiding a group. It's like if you're in one, you avoid all the rest.
No.
So yeah.
So you think affiliation sort of leads to which group you'll become
Yeah.
part of? Okay. So with all the different pressures put on teens these days, like education, like you said, need for money, becoming part of the more mature community and getting a job and moving on from college, things like that. Would you say that these pressures could lead to mental health problems in these subjects?
Yeah, definitely. Because if you haven't got no money and you want something, like you want it, but you can't have it, so you either go out and steal it or just do without it. But most people really, really want it, so they go out and steal it and they get themselves into trouble. And then when they come home, they might not even have a home anymore because their mum might have kicked them out or something.
Yeah.
So that leads to depression. So where they're living on the street, cold, wet. So yeah.
Okay. What would you say is the leading reason for like mental health issues? What's the leading cause?
Leading cause. Most possibly depression.
No, well, like what do you think would cause depression in the teenagers? Maybe bullying or something.
If they do go to school or college, then because teachers put pressure on them to get their work completed, but obviously they do have a social life and they do want to interact with others.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you still need to get that working. So, but you still need to get that working so you can get good grades, you can get a job, so you can have money, what everyone wants.
Yeah.
But like, if you don't go to school, you don't forget school, blah blah blah. You don't get your grades. Where you gonna get in life?
Exactly.
You can't get a job. You're stuck out on the street. Are they gonna pay? Are your friends gonna pay your bills?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Probably not. So stress as well, mainly would lead to. Okay. Do you know anyone that suffered with a mental issue like depression, anxiety, episodes of subpsychotic rage, or anything else?
Yeah, I know a few people.
Would you care to share the experience, like what you know? Or
Well, a close friend of
like
mine, she had depression. Like, to get over her depression, she started drinking, and she started taking illegal drugs. Well, illegal drugs, and like, it kind of messed up her life a bit because she was on a good track, and now she got depressed. That section of her life got messed up, so now she's back on track, but it's just like, if she never had that little breakdown,
Yeah.
she could have been further than she is now.
Okay. So depression does, in fact, impair teenagers' abilities to move forward in life.
Yeah.
So. Okay, then. Just a few statistics for you. Did you know that 1 in 4 people, well, 4 young people, are affected by mental health problems?
No, okay.
Did you know that suicide rates are higher with British men than women?
No.
Did you also know that women are more likely to be diagnosed with mental health issues than men?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, okay then. So.
I kind of had an idea, but I didn't know it was fact.
Okay, well, considering lack of information, would you say that there's not enough information about mental health available to the populace, to young people these days?
Yeah, there's some, but there's not enough, because when you think about it, like, there's advertisements on TV about prostate cancer and all this. What about looking on the other side about depression and how you can help people? And
Yeah. So mental aspects as well. Do you think there's enough awareness about this issue of mental health and ways to deal with it? Do you think a lot of people know about how to deal with it or where they could get help? Or?
No, I don't think so. I
Okay.
don't think so, because it's not being taught or anything.
Yeah.
It's not being, what's it called?
Advertised. Or,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the one.
Okay then. Well, personally, if you was to make a video about mental health, what aspects would you want to emphasise? So, like, would you rather put emphasis on how people can get help or what it's like to have mental health issues?
Do both, basically. Do
Mm.
both, like having the mind of a suspect,
Yeah.
and like see what they're thinking, what their everyday life is about, and then on the other side where people trying to help them,
Yeah.
and then just like have a big bond. So yeah.
Okay then. Well, that was our last question. You've helped a lot. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining us today.
No problem.
Awesome. Interview 3 with our third guest. Just so you know, all questions are confidential, as is information, so no names need to be used.
Right.
If you wish to not answer a question at any time for any reason, just say pass, and we'll move on.
Okay.
Okay, first question. How would you explain or describe the teenage community in the modern day?
I would say the teenage community these days is sort of doomed in a way, because what they do is only focus on money and try to enjoy it for the minute. Like, for example, with the riots that happened, they went to riot the stores, which they might get jobs in, which doesn't make sense to me. Because if you...
So you'd say they're not really thinking about the future.
they don't even think about the future.
Yeah.
If you damage something,
Yeah.
it's going to need money to repair. And you might not get the job because there is nowhere to work at,
Exactly.
because of you have already damaged everything. So they're not like thinking ahead, they're just thinking like focusing on
What's now?
like sort of temporary pleasure, if you may say.
Yeah. It's very insightful. With the modern society of teenagers, putting people into groups, so social stereotypes like chavs, hipsters, jocks, emos, other things like that.
Right.
Do you think that this puts pressure on teenagers to become a part of one of those groups,
Yeah.
and or possibly to avoid becoming a part of another group, maybe?
Yeah, I think it does put pressure on teens to want to become a sort of part of a group, and they also don't want to be associated with a certain group.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when the riots happened, going back to the riots,
Yeah.
all teenagers were associated with being violent and whatnot.
Yeah.
But somehow they were sort of trying to distance themselves from chavs, so they called, because there seemed to be more of them. They seem to be the ones that were doing the rioting and whatnot and all that stuff. So I think it goes both ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with the different pressures on teenagers, things like education, being pressured to do well at school, to get a job for money reasons, of course, things like taking the place among a more mature life, like transitions from college to jobs. Would you say that these pressures in everyday life can lead to mental issues within teenagers?
Yeah, I think it does cause mental issues. It depends on what kind of person you are, really, because some people are more organized about their stuff, like, for example, for college work, they do their work on time and all that stuff, so they don't have any issues in the long run, whereas other people, like, leave it for last minute, and then they'll start losing concentration, and they'll start having depression, starting to think, are they going to pass the course, and all that kind of stuff. That's going to cause mental issues.
Okay. So, what would you say is the leading cause, the main thing that causes mental health in young people? What would you say that is?
In some research, in some of the articles that I read, is bullying is one of the main causes that causes mental health, with 44% of young children from the age of 10 to 14 committing suicide just because of being bullied in school. So I think, bullying is one of the main causes.
Okay, so it like causes self-issues, self-confidence, things like that.
Yeah.
Alright then, do you know anyone that's suffered with a mental illness at all?
Nah, I'm not familiar with anyone who's...
Okay then. That's fair enough. So, did you know as well that 1 in 4 people are affected by mental health problems?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Did you know that mental health issues are more common in women than in men?
No, that I didn't know. No.
Did you also know that British men are more likely to commit suicide than British women?
No.
Okay. Well, obviously you know quite a bit so far. But would you say that there needs to be more information available to people out there about mental health, so like statistics and where they can get help, things like that?
Yeah, they always need to give more information to people because, like you just asked, and I couldn't answer some of the questions because I didn't know what the statistics show. But I think people need to be provided with more information about these kind of issues because they affect a lot of people, and you might not know it, but they might affect someone who you relate to, but you don't know the symptoms, so you can't tell if they're suffering from depression, from mental health or not.
Okay then. So would you say? Sorry. Do you think that there's enough information for those that have mental health issues? Do you think that there's enough information out there for them to get help, to like know who they can call or who they can talk to get treatment for it?
I think there is enough information being passed to those who suffer from mental health. It's just that the ones who don't know about mental health, that don't have the information, just needs to be more broad and easy to understand. Really, I think. So it
should be definitely made more aware of.
Made more aware. So yeah, definitely, definitely.
All right then. If you yourself was to make a video campaign for people with mental health, what would you say is the main aspect to emphasise? So like, would it be what it's like to be them, or maybe more awareness for how to help them, things like that, how to avoid?
A bit of both, to be honest, because you need to be in someone's shoes to know what they're going through, and you also need the information to sort of help you through the long run and what's going to help you to sort of overcome that mental health problem. So I think a bit of both is going to be 50-50.
All right. Okay. Well, that was the last question. That was a lot of help. Thank you.
No problem.